John Bowman to talk about a people's plan for economic recovery and renewal. Madam Bowman.
Thank you. It's wonderful to follow an economist because now I don't have to go into all those kind of details. So I will just kind of talk a little bit about how this economic crisis has impacted regular working people and low-income people throughout the United States of America. I think one of the things we can all agree on is that our world has suffered one of the most severe economic collapses since the Great Depression. We must act quickly to really protect those who are most vulnerable and to prevent the crisis from really spinning out of control. But we also need to take a moment to reflect on what went wrong, what ideas led to this disaster, and what principles should be placed there. This is no time for us to be small thinkers. We have an opportunity to really fashion an economy that works for us all. At the moment, when everything is in flux, when nothing is taken for granted, we should seize this opportunity to chart a new and different course. What this crisis has taught us is that this has been an economic crisis and a lesson of interdependence. The recognition that no matter how much we imagine ourselves on our own, we are in fact deeply connected to one another. The lesson begins with the financial system, a problem that seemed limited to certain types of mortgages, spread to the home loan market as a whole, then to mortgage-backed securities, then to enter bank loans, commercial paper, and consumer credit. The walls that separate financial markets and institutions proved to be very formidable, and companies that were sound on paper were not immune to the contagion. The missing commodity in the system was not money, but trust. When trust evaporated, every institution, every individual was at risk. The crisis also showed how tightly connected we are to the rest of the world. An unchecked bubble in U.S. housing prices attracted investors from around the globe, encouraging leaders to compete with each other and making risky, high-interest loans. The failure of the United States to adequately regulate its credit market put the entire world economy at risk. The lack of international controls over capital movement then made it difficult to contain the crisis. The contagion in the financial market was not an isolated mania. It was a symptom of a fundamental problem in our economy. Over the past 35 years, household income for the majority of Americans has been flat or declining, while the price of health care, housing, child care, and education has soared. Families have coped with this gap by accumulating debt, credit card debt, medical debt, student loans, home equity aid by marketers and investors who derive huge profit from providing credit. These profits, in turn, we poured into real estate speculation, exotic financial products, high-end luxuries, and other non-productive uses, which goods were starved for investment. In sum, our prosperity has been built on shaky foundations, and a collapse was inevitable. For many Americans who profited from the financial boom, the problems of the poor, the struggles of the middle class, the persistence of racial inequity were unfortunate, yes, but not my problem. In the end, however, it was their problem. In the end, however, it was their problem and everyone else's. Our fates are connected. The roots of failure. For the past 3 decades, the economic policies of the United States have been based on an extreme form of individualism, this go-it-alone mentality that was expressed as a set of perceptions that were proclaimed over and over again in public debate. Human beings are naturally selfish. Competition is the primary engine of progress. Business owners and investors mainly create wealth. The more they are rewarded, the more everyone benefits. Free markets are fair and efficient and should be left alone. The smallest government is the best government. Opportunity is colorblind, and racism is a thing of the past. A nation as strong as ours can make our own rules in the world. It is time to base our economy on a different set of principles, founded on the values of connection, inclusion, shared responsibility, shared sacrifice, and looking out for each other, what we call community values. Among these principles are, our shared quality of life is more important than the excessive private accumulation of wealth. Everyone in society, workers, managers, investors, educators, caregivers, community leaders, public servants, create wealth. When the pursuit of private gain promotes growth and innovation, it should be duly rewarded, but not to the detriment of the common good. The speculative frenzy of the housing bubble, the excessive salaries and bonuses of executives undermined our economy rather than strengthening it. Capital that was locked up in lavish mansions, luxury vehicles, and financial speculation could have been used more beneficially for education, transportation, clean energy, primary health care, and other investments that generate long-term growth and shared prosperity. Private wealth should be respected, but not sacrosanct. Number 2, structural racism and inequality imperil our collective progress. The legacy of racial exclusion has caused deep wounds that rise to the surface in every crisis. While almost every community has been touched by the mortgage meltdown, neighborhoods of color targeted by subprime lenders are ground zero for the disaster. While the decay of transportation infrastructure hurt all of us, it is low-income communities that are most affected. While many Americans are finding it hard to get affordable health coverage, it is poor women of color who have the sharpest drop in life expectancy. While rising unemployment affects everyone, it is particularly acute for African American men. To build a truly prosperous nation, we must tackle these issues head-on, rather than hide behind the fiction of a colorblind society. Number 3, security and prosperity for America depends on security and prosperity for the entire world. A system that produces great wealth in some countries and great poverty in others cannot be stable, secure, or just. Huge gaps in economic opportunity force millions of people to leave their home countries in order to survive. Unregulated global competition encourages employers to shop around for the lowest wage and investors to scout the world for higher yield. Number 4, government is essential for doing together what we cannot do alone. Workers, consumers, entrepreneurs, and financiers all play an essential role in our economy, but only government can ensure that markets operate fairly and effectively on behalf of the common interest. Only government can assure that all workers are productively employed. Only government can assure that our basic human needs are met and that deep inequities are corrected.